Hello and welcome to the Legends of Tabletop podcast. We weren't sure, but it looks like we're going to be playing some Day Trippers, a la Night Trippers tonight. So I'm just going to kick it over to Todd because we haven't played in real time in, I don't know, like 2 months maybe. So nobody knows what's happening. So we'll let Todd give us a recap and then we'll jump into it.
Well, we are in the Night Trippers world. It's sort of a mid-apocalyptic, side by side with the ubiquitous city, devastated, lava-filled landscape with a dark orange sky. And Ulla, played by Leslie, lives here. Has fled from the city because there's all kinds of fuzz on her tail, and stumbled accidentally, literally through a vortex, into Jack Nash and Trae, who had come from another reality. Didn't shock Leslie at all because there's reality fractures. They happen like storms around here. It happens all the time. She's seen people disappear through these portals. She's seen now a couple people come through one. Didn't really shock her much at all. In fact, it was only a little bit of a shock when Reggie came through as a little naked baby in a big brass ornate jar. He's a jar baby, and he speaks, and there's all sorts of complicated and semi-magical equipment attached to the lower side of the jar, which allows him to interact with everybody else. And he'd been running from the drones and bounty hunters on their tail. They made it to a hidey hole, which is an RV that Ulla had set up just in case she needed a place to run to. And here's where they met a fellow who called himself the Terminationer. You could share the screen if anybody's watching. All of our one fans in the world are watching. There he is. Everybody loves the Terminationer. He looked like a threat for a minute, but he turned out to be a 19-year-old kid who'd run away from home and was trying to make it for himself, living out here in the Badlands. And so you got him drunk, piled him into a truck, called for a medical drone to come get him, and you took most of his shit. I don't remember exactly what was taken, but I'm hoping that Jesse wrote it down because that's where we left you guys.
I have a list
Jesse
of some
takes notes.
stuff. I take notes when it comes to stuff that I collect.
I think, yeah, that's the general rule for Trae.
Yeah, I got a list somewhere here.
I do remember that we did not take his pets. He had pets.
No,
Yeah,
yeah,
Jesse
he
took
had
the
a bunch of
broken
little
one.
bots. I took one of them.
I was gonna say there was definitely one. We had one in
Yeah.
custody.
Yeah, but we left the rest of them because they were his buddies. We took the one
Yes,
that was broken / shot.
Okay, so that was the one. That was the one that Nash shot, and his name was Fred.
Yeah.
I think he had like a tent. I think we took his tent. I think he had.
Okay,
Surprisingly,
Vibrant
I don't have
tent.
notes.
To see, I mean, I know what he had, but I don't remember what stuff.
My only note is that we take all his shit and it's circled.
Yeah, we took everything, but we left him all but one of his bots.
That's
Oh,
canon.
okay. So that means that. Did you take his life insurance card?
There. Okay.
Yeah.
I wrote down.
No. He probably needs that because the drones are taking him back.
Yeah.
I wrote down ID, RFID, insurance card, something about Global Nation.
Okay. Okay. So his. Thank you. That actually rings a bell for me. You found in his wallet. And it apparently is a pass card for Global Nation products where you would also learn. You got the guy tanked a little bit, and he was talking for a while. He has father issues, right? Fuck my dad, that kind of thing. Trying to prove he's a big man and doesn't need his dad to survive. But his dad is actually obviously rich, works for Global Nation products as an ad sales optimizer, and this is a pass card. Apparently, this kid, his dad had got him a job, but he doesn't want to be like his old man, and he ran away to the Badlands. That's what you've kind of pieced together. Who knows what exactly the details are, but that's what it looks like. So you got his pass card, which if one day you ever wanted to pay a visit to Global Nation headquarters, that would get you into the building. And you took his tent, So that is a Shield brand, Vibra 5 Megatent. It sleeps 3 and expands to 6 because it's actually nanotech assembled on the fly. And then you got his a tougher Lifesaver 3000 that was in his backpack. It's a
Yeah, I wrote that down.
Okay. So broad range scanner with long range microfrequency and 1 kilometer range audio.
I think we took his ident card because I vaguely remember us talking about, if we needed to maybe either sneak in there or have some sort of identity, since we don't have any in this universe, and Ulla is wanted, so none of us was going to be scanning anywhere.
Right.
Yeah, I
So
mean,
you know this
I
guy's
think
real name
we
is
figured
Ken
too, he has an
Erslinger.
implant anyway that the drone will recognize him from. So
Yes, that was the other half of the bell ringing. The life insurance policy is implanted in his wrist, so that's how the drones found him. You guys just left him in the back of a truck.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
the last scene of the last episode, in fact, was the medical drone carrying him away, just sort of twisting at the bottom of a cable.
Right.
It reminded me of the poor man that we killed and sent back at that time. Remember that time where we killed the man who was trying to kill me? We sent him back to the drone.
Oh, that's
I do.
true.
I remember that too.
I had a vivid sort of memory of that moment because of how it.
He deserved it. I mean, he fucking, those guys almost killed the both of yous.
He did. They did. Yep.
Yeah, that drone was actually trying to capture Nash, and Reggie knocked him out of the way or something, and it caught the other dude instead.
I sacrificed one of my drones.
Oh, is that what it was?
Yes.
No,
Nice.
it came to net Reggie.
It was.
He was wrestling on top with that guy, and
Paid 2 mega for that drone.
he was able to
Of
get
course,
out of
because
it.
it was. This is at the time. This is at the time when Somnambula was hunting for Reggie. Hey guys, we're doing one of those flashback episodes where they keep talking about previous episodes.
And Ulla was there. She was the one who sort of helped, shoot the drones away. If you remember.
Now, you know what? I think all of this conversation is canon because you're all kind of. We left you kind of drunk. You've been drinking all night with determination, and so all this is canon. You're having this conversation, and Ulla is taking it all in.
Yeah, I wanted to throw out though. I did casually mention that we needed to. We're finding Ulla again. We needed to get back. I don't know. I made a point of making a note of that, and when I make a note of something, it's usually feels significant to me from the past. I wanted to throw that out there. We never went back to it because I fast talked away from it.
Well, it might be. Can you pour booze into the baby's jar? I'm trying to figure out how to get the baby drunk because everybody else is drunk.
It's very easy.
No, Nash
I don't
is
know how
not
I
drunk.
know that. Yeah. Yeah.
Nash is stone cold sober.
That's
So, I was going to say it may be the booze talking, but not in Reggie's case. Everybody else, it's the booze listening. When Reggie says, at the end of this long conversation where you're flashing back to previous hijinks, and Ulla is just like, oh my God, these guys have real history. They've saved each other's lives multiple times in a world I've never heard of. Talking about people we'll never know. And years worth of history as they're reminiscing in front of you, and they're just kind of boozing it up and rambling on. And Reggie turns and looks at everybody and he says, it's good to have us all back again. And Ulla, he's staring at you because Reggie, right now, you feel like this is the team. This is for some reason, Ulla, in your heart and head, has always been here.
Yes, it's very nice to have the team back together. Finally.
Yeah, man, it's good that you're here.
Right?
Yeah. I mean, Trae's new part and Ulla. I mean, that's good. I mean, we're
like always, like before.
No, I mean, Ulla's. I mean, we just met Ulla a couple hours ago, man.
No,
Yeah.
all that stuff that happened with Somnambula and Frank and everything like that, that was just a dream, Reggie. You know this, and the fact that Ulla wasn't there, that's just because Ula wasn't in that dream. That's all. That's not real, though. This is real.
Right, this is right. We're back to reality where we're all together again. You are correct. Yes.
Fuck, you're gonna again with this, right? I mean, you know what? You know what? It's fine. It's fine. I'm not gonna. It's fine. But you know what? We're gonna need to get out of here because they
We need to
may
move,
send
yes.
someone out to find out what happened to that guy. So
Yes, they're coming for the Terminationer for sure.
Well, should we drink off the booze? Drink. See, I can't even speak. Should we sleep off the booze and then go?
I'm not sure that it's safe to stay here. Are you okay to travel? Trae, how you feeling?
I am in an adequate position to leave if we must.
I mean, we can. I mean, we could try to set watches and stay if you think. I mean, Ulla, you know the place better than we do. Do you think that they would send somebody out for this guy, or is his dad just gonna like slap him around when he gets home and lock him in his room?
I really don't think it would happen immediately, if at all. In fact, he doesn't really strike me as that important, but I don't know.
You're not kidding.
Do you know the approximate time between here and the city?
By
You're
flight?
You're about 30 kilometers out.
How many kilometers in a mile? Because I know how fast I can move hiking, but
About-
kilometers doesn't help me.
It's about 2.5, so like 12 miles, something like that.
12 miles.
10.
I mean, that's a couple
it's about-
hours.
Yeah, that's at least
So-
a few hours, I think.
Are we talking about going to the city, or are we going to go to the underground people?
I was attempting to estimate how long it would take the drone to get back to the city and then for them to gather up a small force to then send back this to this location. I figured if they do so, we have at least 5, potentially 6 hours.
Probably fair to assume that they'll figure out that there was an altercation, correct?
Yes, but do they give a shit?
I mean, he may not even want his dad
I don't know.
to know, right? I mean, if the
It's a bit
drone
embarrassing.
yeah, I mean, it's going to take him to a hospital, probably, right? I mean,
When it comes
Daddy's
down
going
to
to have
it,
to come
what
get
it,
him.
what it looks like to you guys is kid ran away from home, took a bunch of his dad's wilderness survival gear, and he lost it, and then came
Yeah.
home shit-faced. That's what it looks like.
yeah.
Yeah, he was so drunk that they won't even get a straight story out of him. I'm not even worried, to be honest.
Right, they'll be talking about the baby, talking to him in a can, and he'll be saying all kinds of weird shit.
No one is going to believe
You're
him.
right. We're totally
That's-
safe. You're right.
that's
We're totally safe.
That's fair.
And
Trae,
we live
Ulla,
out the rest of our days right here. Totally safe.
do you two want to sleep that off? I don't mind taking first and maybe second shift if necessary.
I actually think I need to sleep. I need to like shut this down for a minute and come back, and then let's try this again, because all of this, there's a lot has happened in one. Is it a day? How many hours has it been since I've met you?
It's been about 36 hours, and you've spent half of them running or walking long
Yeah.
distances.
Yeah, I'm exhausted. And
And
She
then
points-
you
she
spent
points
the
at
whole
Reggie
night
and she's-
drinking.
yes, so and she like just yawns like really.
It's time. It's time for a little. It's time for sleep. It's time, I think, for the sleep.
Yep.
For the ones who sleep, it's time for sleep.
Yeah. Now, actually, Reggie, you fall asleep like for a few minutes at a time, like all the time.
I
For
do
you,
micro naps. I micro nap.
you,
That's
yeah.
it's just the benefit of being in this vessel is that I don't need to do full on rests. I just do micro naps, and I'm good to go. He claps in the water, but there's no sound because
It's real slow because there's resistance.
there's so
Right.
much resistance in here. I can't clap.
So everybody find a place somewhere in the RV to bed down, grab a few hours sleep. Let's see if anything happens.
Nash is staying up.
Nash is staying up. Okay.
We're not all sleeping at the same time. There's 0% chance that happens. Like we're working now, so like Nash is on. He's on it. So he's
I'm
up for
pretty
at
sure
least the first shift.
It was dawn, crack of dawn. We had gone all through the night with determination, and the final scene with him going off, it was into the dawn. So if you guys took like, I don't know, maybe 8 hours here, and split up the watch shifts, you could all grab 5 or 6.
Yeah, if I can get someone else up at second bell, then sure. But they're gonna fall asleep first.
I'm good, Dave. I mean, I'm good. I'll be up. I think we've established that I don't really sleep normally.
Well, look, you know what? Then I'll stay up with you for a while. This has been a lot to fucking process.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we can talk it out or whatever, but like, yeah, I can't. We can't all be asleep. Like, that's just not gonna work.
Okay, so everybody, we're gonna call this a health roll. Yeah. How often do you get a health roll? Beat a 3.
Oh.
I got a 4.
I got a 3 on the dot.
Makes sense. You're micro napping the whole time.
Yeah.
Right. I've convinced myself that that's a real thing that I can do.
Is that a 5?
Yes.
6.
Okay, so Ulla and Trae, you not only, after this is over, it's going to be mid-afternoon. You two both feel fully rested, alert. You had no problem like waking up and taking watch for a couple hours and going right back to sleep again. So you guys feel great. Nash, you're a little groggy. You wish you had a couple more hours sleep. I'm not going to call it a negative, but you're just a little bit fuck. And Reggie, you're doing fine. I mean, you tried just for the hell of it. You tried to stay up the whole time, and you probably think you did, but you didn't.
I did. I was awake the whole time. Nothing happened.
Todd, I know that at one point Ulla was shot through the hand. How does that heal? I guess.
Well, it'll be good enough to no longer have a negative if you rest for a few days. It's just the one hit. Is that the only damage you've taken?
I think
Yeah, we both took one.
Yeah, Nash and Ulla both took like a hit, and mine was through my hand. I remember.
The rules as written is rest for a few days, but a few is like at least 3.
Okay.
And that means downtime.
Gotcha. Okay. So at current, I'm still going to be at a negative when shooting.
Yeah, anything involving Grace.
Okay.
Me too.
Okay.
I mean, I patched this up as best as could because I have medic, but it's just a matter of there's a hole where there shouldn't be.
There's a hole.
Or a graze or whatever it is. But
yeah, and since Ulla had set this place up as a as a dash spot, as a hidey hole, there's probably some gauze and medical supplies here too, so you can redo your bandages and that kind of thing.
Okay. Yeah,
So
on
late
her watch,
afternoon
she'll
and
have it.
yeah, and so when Ulla and Trae wake up, they're the last two sleeping, and they're like they get up and they're ready, like, hey, let's go face the world. And Nash, you kind of feel like, geez, I think I got screwed in this deal. I shouldn't have.
It wouldn't be the first time he's been up longer than he should have been.
But you've been thinking all night long. The only other thing, I mean, he said he'd been out here eating rats and lizards, so you know that, like, okay, you can survive out here eating rats and lizards, even if you're not a good shot and got little tiny killbots doing your work for you. There's the place where you got the tent from. He had a little grove of olive trees, and there's actually some edible olives there, so that's another source of food that you found. And in this environment, I mean, especially to Ulla, these are striking and noticeable, right? When you find a source of food, a source of water, that's real value out here. And what was the other thing I was going to say? That he had said something about the tube people, and when he said that, he was gesturing off eastward. He said that he didn't think they'd come out from the city this far. They don't care about anything out here. They don't care about the tube people. They left them out there to die.
Yeah, we got the whole story. They were drilling like a tunnel from the city out, or from both ends, and then abandoned it. So there was people living in a tunnel, or presumably people living in a tunnel.
Yeah. And so just as you're going to, so Nash, you're on. You were on first watch and you're on last watch. That's why you feel messed up here. And when you go to wake up Ulla and Trae, that's what was on your mind. You're thinking about those tunnel people. You're like, I don't think we have to worry about the insurance company coming out here, but who are the tunnel people? Yeah.
So I don't know how much you guys remember from last night with that dude, but Ulla, there's a tunnel out here somewhere. That jerk off was talking about the tunnel people. Does that sound familiar?
It's a Terminationer.
I mean, I'm not going to call him that, Reg. He was just.
It's a cool name.
But yeah, I mean, it's okay. But
you have his ID. His real name is Ken Erslinger. So you can call him Ken.
Yeah. The tunnel. I only know exactly what he said. I don't have any further information other than apparently people are living there. So
everybody in the city knew that they planned to expand the underground freeways and train systems. So it makes sense. Mm-hmm. But that's about all you know.
So you've never interacted with any of these people out here then?
No. But I'm curious. Maybe there's a way into the city now.
But you've also been hiding a lot. So, I mean,
I've done my best to avoid almost everyone.
Also, I mean, would there be any reason to think that these tunnel people would be part of that whole thing that was looking for you?
Oh, no, that doesn't seem very likely.
Right. So, seems like a pretty good destination, I think.
All right, but look, when we get there, like, let's not call them tunnel people.
Right?
That's probably not.
That's smart.
I'm just saying.
Yeah, that's very smart. Yes, we should probably come up with another name to call them.
The Undergrounders.
That could work.
Hold on, I'm just going to make a little note. That one. That's good. Whatever they call themselves, they're going to like that better.
Todd, did he give us the direction? I feel like he did. I know he gave us a lot of information. I just don't recall.
Kind of vaguely gesturing in an east by southeast direction, but you didn't get the feeling it was too far off.
Yeah. Okay. So he's east southeast from here.
Can we use the drones to Trae's drones to look for an entrance?
Yes, absolutely. I plan on using them to scout ahead.
Good call.
So,
I like it.
How do we travel? Who takes point? Who takes rear?
I mean, I would defer to Ulla in this, guys. I mean, this is her place.
Well, I would say I'll probably take point because I know what I'm looking for, or at least I know what to look out for. And otherwise, just single file with a bit of distance between us in case one of us runs into something explosive-y.
Yeah, I mean, I'm on your back, Nash. So maybe you be in the back, and also I can watch the rear.
Yeah, I like that. That works. Teamwork makes the dream work, right?
Excellent. It was wonderful. what
So
you
are,
said.
God,
I,
real
I
quick.
forget what we
during-
agreed on. Was Reggie back mounted
I'm on the
facing?
back. Yeah, it makes sense. Because why
Facing
would
back?
if I'm Baby Bjorn, he's got nothing. There's no sort of
Yeah,
like.
I'm imagining it's pretty
there's-
big.
yeah, I'm
Okay.
a backpack.
Jesse?
So real quick, over the last the few hours over the watch, could Trae do any work on the little mini drone, the little mini robot that he got, to get that up and running again?
Yeah, you're up for a couple boring hours. What do
Yeah.
you want to do to it? You're just trying to make it work again?
Yeah, just
You see,
rewire it, attach whatever parts fell off, or just trying to kind of get it back into a working robot again.
Okay, so this is both mechanics and electronics, but you're probably primarily concerned with the electronics.
All right.
So this is going to be an electronics roll, which is a brains-based skill.
Sounds good. And I do have a bonus in electronics.
This is hard.
That's going to be a 5.
Oh, you exactly tied it. Okay, this is a yes, but all right. So actually, you got it online again. You used some copper wire that you'd taken from that police car a couple days ago, and you sort of rigged it so that the two pieces of a broken circuit board are now back in contact again. But you're not sure how long that's going to hold. You don't actually have solder, so it's a really ratchety kind of connection that you've got.
Right.
I should probably point out too, I guess, since we're like post watches, Nash would have stripped and cleaned the guns as best as he's able, without having like a full kit. Swipe everything down, clean out the dirt, all that kind of stuff, especially having 2 watches, just to make sure that everything it's not a gun that he's familiar with or comfortable with yet. So yeah.
Gotcha. Kind of curious, who, if anyone, is hanging on to Ken's gun, which was actually a replica gun, not even a real gun.
I think we just tossed
I have
it
a
or
real
left it in
gun.
Duct tape it to me, pod. That way, it'll just it'll be something for anyone who wants to fuck with us to look at and question.
Careful, that jar baby is armed.
Yeah,
Right. Did they give a baby a gun?
These motherfuckers, they gave a baby a gun.
No, they taped it to its water cell or whatever's inside it.
If you bring it up, Nash would do it. Right?
Yeah, I brought it up. It's up.
Get some wire, some
Just don't-
vines or some shit, and like fucking tie it around there.
Yeah, don't tie it around my eye line so that I can still see out of the goo that I'm in.
Yeah, no, low slung on the hip, so it looks like you're
Low,
carrying.
slow,
Oh, yeah,
hip
yeah.
firing. Yeah, I
Absolutely.
like it.
Absolutely.
Oh,
Like
God,
any-
I miss my body. So much. Never mind. I never had a body, right?
Any good axeman.
Yeah.
You know what? That's kind of blurry. You know what's important is you're you, Reggie. I mean, think about it this way. You always have a point of view whenever you've seen anything, right? But you never see the point of view. You are
There is no point to any of us, right?
right, and you are the same point of view, whether you thought your body was a full-grown man or a baby in a jar. That hardly matters, really.
It doesn't. Right. There's no point of view. There's no point of me. There's just no point. So strap me up as I'm hip firing this fake gun.
I can't. You're fucking killing me, Reg. Whatever's going on, I hope we can work this out because you're on a whole other plane now.
Now we're all here. Everything is on the same plane, and we're right where we should be, which is where we've always been, which is together.
Fuck, Trae.
Right, and you know what? Just
it just
as
me?
Reggie says that, we're all right where we should have always been. Now, suddenly a vortex opens up about 30
Damn it.
feet ahead of you, in front, and you can go ahead and share my screen, John. The phenomenon that you've seen before, that is sometimes called a flux storm. Different people call it different things. It's a
We triggered an
reality.
event. Damn it!
It's a reality fracture, and it opens up. Now, this is not the same hallway, although it's the same picture. This is not the same hallway that you guys saw the last time you saw one of these, and yet it is a hallway. The architecture is slightly different. The blue is a slightly different blue. And sitting right at it's not in the picture, but right just a foot or two into this blue section of hallway that seems to manifest in front of you is this little canister. So it's about the size of like a 2-liter thermos. It's drab green military color. It's got a couple dials and lights on the top of it, and there's a red sequence of lights going back and forth. You don't see anybody else in the hallway. You just see this canister. What do you do?
Have we seen it before? Is it something we've seen before?
No.
So it wouldn't be, you said it's olive drab, so which makes me think military. It's not something that we've ever seen during our service.
It's you know what? Everybody can take a brains roll on this. Those with military background, beta 2, and everybody else.
Got a 4.
3.
Oh, 6. 6 of my brains.
Yeah. Okay. And it's not just because Ulla had mentioned ordnance earlier, but also because Jack Nash, the first thing that pops in your head is you see those little red lights going back and forth. You're like, that's a live charge.
Yeah. He just starts yelling, "Everybody down, down!"
Is it on our side of the gate?
It is like in the fuzzy, blurry area that when the gate shrinks away, it may be left here.
Yeah, I closed the gate around it so that it's not on our side.
You're making the gate close.
Yeah, that's what I want to do. I want to go, oh shit, and I want to close the gate around it so it's not on our side.
I applaud your effort, but this is
Thank you for letting me down easy. I appreciate it.
this is going to take a 10. This is insane.
Okay. Can I do that? If I roll
You can get a yes, but yeah.
I can roll a 10. I can get a yes, but I'm rolling 4 die. I mean, it's the My Little Pony dice.
Okay, so
Then
poof,
you got a
this
10 then.
vortex appears. There's this little canister. You realize the lights are flashing. Nash yells, "Everybody hit the dirt!" Everybody hits the dirt except baby Reggie, who furrows his brow.
I have to hit the dirt, though. I'm on Nash's back.
Oh,
He's coming with me.
yeah. Well, okay.
But
So you're facing up because Nash hits the dirt, so he's belly down.
Right.
You're up. You're looking at the thing,
Yeah.
furrowing your little baby brow. Oh my God! You're getting a little baby nosebleed, and that's not going to be good.
I just want to get in the liquid. That sucks.
You're trying to change reality here, and this is 2 different realities we're talking about.
Oh yeah. I'm ready. I'm doing it. Okay. There's a 5 on there, so no, I did not make it. It's a 9 total. Shit.
You missed by 1.
I did. Damn it.
Okay.
No end?
So you do not manage to force the vortex closed, but tell me something good.
Something good that happens is that the stress of the stress of it closing just completely deactivates the ordnance, so that it's it's just dead now, or it's deactivated. And I pass out. And there's a small leak in the thing. Anything to make it not blow up, Todd.
Okay. You deactivate whatever it is. You know that you've stopped it from doing whatever it was doing. And the vortex swirls backward and disappears. And the canister is left right there in front of you. No blinking lights. And then the lid of it starts to unscrew.
Oh my God.
I want to ask everybody again, what are you doing right now?
Oh, gun drawn.
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
I'm like on my back, but like gun pointed through my knees.
Yeah, do you say that it's deactivated, Reg?
Well, I mean, are we seeing the lights go off?
The lights stopped. Yeah, and
Yeah.
it was making a little bit of a thrumming sound. The vortex disappears, but when the lights go off, that sound stops too. So whatever this canister was doing, you've stopped it.
So I
You
might say
broke it.
something like, "Oh God, it stopped. Hold on. It's not gonna just," and then it starts to open up.
Yeah, so then I would get up and turn around, and then when it starts to open, I would certainly draw.
Okay, everybody make a grace roll. You can add acrobatics or athletics or something like that. And tell me who gets the highest roll out of all y'all.
Should I make this roll? Does it matter?
No, I'm sorry.
Can I add my stealth? Oh, I have athletics. Okay, 5.
Anybody beat a 5?
I got a 5.
Six.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Oh,
Okay. Ulla's the first. Okay, this kind of makes sense. Ulla, you got that crazy machinery in your head. Leslie, we need to talk about that at some point because I know so little about it that I forget that you have it, but it is very useful shit, and it's saving your ass right now. Because the moment before we're about to go into action frames, the moment before the next frame happens, you realize this is nanotech. That was a sealed container, and Reggie just unsealed it. These are nanobots.
Well, shit. All right.
You probably have about enough time to shout out just a few words before I'm going to kick into action frames.
She's just gonna scream nanobots and start shooting.
All right.
So my question is, do we know what that is? Right? Do we have nanobots in our other timeline?
oh yeah.
Yeah, you do. You've never seen like anything deployed by the military as an ordinance, but you know what nanobots are. Yeah.
I mean, would I think that's dangerous then?
Well, actually, in the original world that you guys came from, I mean, it is actually the same world as Ubiquity, but like with a lighter tone. And so the focus there in the world you came from is more on nanotech, nanomedicine, like blood filtering, cleaning, longevity, that sort of nanotech. However, there's the fears of the gray goo. That's always a problem. Once in a while, a lab, it gets run over by gray goo, and the military has to nuke the thing.
As a person, though, who ran special forces operations for high-end commercial work, dealing with CEOs and CFOs that often have the nanotech implanted in them, even if its original intention is as a health benefit, if you're able to get in there, then anything can happen.
Well, that's a very Trae kind of a thought. and so now everybody wants to declare.
Not saying that's a technique or a tactic that my clutch has used in the past.
Sure, of course not.
But
and you bet that I will give you a bonus on whatever weird idea you have in your head. But what's happening? We're all declaring our actions now.
Oh yeah.
And what this cloud is going to do? They're unscrewing the container from inside, and then they're going to fly directly toward the nearest source of electromagnetic energy that they sense.
Oh crap!
That's what they do.
But I don't think. But I don't know that we would know that, though, right? I mean, that's the.
Well, no, I'm not saying that they're declaring their actions. In game, but I'm letting you all know, and you kind of have. You're not idiots. You realize that this thing is opening from the inside, and Ulla just screamed nanobots. So you're prepared to be swarmed. It just comes with the territory.
Trae is going to run. So he's going to kind of associate the canister with these things trying to come out. And so he's going to run over and see if there's any kind of like retrieval mechanism within this container. Maybe if he can screw with the electronics of it, that he can almost like call them home back into the canister.
You want to hack into the canister, basically. The canister is an electronic device.
Is it like manually? So he's going to run over to the canister and do it that way.
Okay, cool. Everybody else? Any ideas?
I mean, Ulla yells. I don't know that that Nash is like super freaked out, but like he is in a I mean, I guess he would start to backpedal away, but I don't think he's as concerned because it's not something that he's dealt with, so he would think that it's necessarily a threat. Right? She seems concerned, so like, oh fuck, I gotta move. But he's also not like firing wildly because like if it's nanotech, like what are you gonna shoot, right? Like it's this little fucking flybots or whatever.
Yep. So the jar opens and everybody else is backing away from it while Trae is running toward it. He hits the ground, his hands stretched out, he grabs it like diving for a football. And he's got his hands on it and concentrating on how to get into its system. Trae, your little network of people, network of dudes, you have them now because of the Terminationer's machine, broad range scanner, right? So you are a local area network. You and your boss are running. You can't connect with anything else out of range. You don't have the range for that. You got 1 kilometer range.
And the little 8-bit Reggie's there too.
But Trae, you are online. Your augmented reality is up.
Nice.
You can use your little dudes to try to hack into this thing.
Okay.
And that's what I need you to do. And the difficulty is an 8. And while that's happening, a black cloud, it's like tiny little gnats, like thousands and thousands and thousands of little gnats flying up into the sky around you and swarming around.
Did I know about the electromagnetic thing?
Well, no, you knew that was a machine and
Yeah.
you stopped it from doing whatever it was doing. What you didn't know was that what it was doing was holding these little fuckers in.
Okay, all right, got it.
Would this be either programming or encryption?
It's encryption to get into it. Yeah.
Sounds good.
And you need to beat an 8.
All right. Yeah. Well, I'm running off a +2 here. So let's see.
Hacking.
7.
Yeah. So that's a no. You haven't hacked into it, but something positive. Tell me something good.
I didn't get into it, but I understand I noticed some key coding usages in the defense code, and I know the company that made it.
That too is a very Trae thing to say. I have to give that to you. All right, let me open this fucker up. This is
We can close this, right?
yeah, you can close it.
The suspense is killing me.
I know, right?
Leslie looks very concerned.
Yeah. Okay. So I wanted to double check, and I'm sorry for the dramatic delay, but it is exactly as dramatic as it deserves to be because this is Wolfram code.
Okay.
Okay, so this little cloud of bot swarms, the lid falls to the ground. The swarm of gnats, it looks like, flies up into the air, and then it disperses so finely that you can't see it anymore. But they are targeting all of your electronic shit, and that means there's a particularly large cloud of them swarming around Trae.
Get the fuck out of there.
Yeah. So
Um,
let's see. I can't really call this defending. There's kind of nothing you can do. It's just like roll to see how bad it is. Yeah.
If
Now,
it, so question though, so if it is it attacking me physically or like through the software?
it is trying to get inside machinery
Okay.
physically
So it's actually trying to like physically get into the hardware in my head.
at the molecular level.
Yes. Okay.
Okay, so Nash, what is the let's call it in terms of like milliwatts per hour? what's the most powerful object on your person? The thing with the strongest battery charge, or
The nightstick with the stun charge?
oh yeah, they're going for that. Okay, so the nightstick literally moves off of your body and falls to the ground, and there's shocks of electricity jumping off of it. It's morphing. It's turning into something like a snake. You jump the fuck back. Ulla, do you have any electronic gear on you, or is it just in you?
You're muted, Leslie.
I don't actually know the answer to that 'cause I was looking at my stuff and like I don't really have a very good accounting of my gear. Don't know what I have.
I would imagine it's probably mostly implanted, right? I mean, like your neural stuff.
Everything else is probably just the gun, yeah. Did we lose Todd?
No, he's here.
Am I here?
Yep, yeah, you're here.
Okay. So yeah, I think that most of what Ulla's got on her, like the stuff from the clan, is all kind of low tech stuff. So Ulla, you too find that these like little gnats are like buzzing all around you. You can feel them like climbing into your ears and you're getting into your skin. And
Cool.
Trae, that's starting to happen to you too, although for you that's happening all over your body. There are many more of them interested in Trae. When I access the link, what link are we talking about?
I'm on the Discord. Don't worry about what I'm doing.
Gotcha.
Are we in like a frame? Can I?
We are in a frame, and I just wanted to make sure again, this should be moving really fast, but instead it's moving really slow. So we're going to pretend that the reason it's moving really slow is like nanobots. Your experience of time has been radically altered. Time is dramatically slowed down at this moment as these tiny little things start burrowing into Ulla's head and into Trae's skin. And there's really nothing you can do about it. And Jack, you're just busy freaking out because your nightstick is turning into like some kind of living creature. Ulla, give me a health roll, and Trae also a health roll. Beat a 4.
6.
We are two very healthy people.
Dice have been nice tonight.
Jesse, what'd you get?
5.
Okay, so Trae, you're not exactly sure how you're doing this, but by sheer will, you're like resisting and you're somehow succeeding. Like your DNI is helping you do this on a molecular level. Your body like is using micro movements to block the attempts to insert themselves into your structure. This is not quite physical. It feels more electric than physical.
Mhm.
Happening at like a, smaller than even a nerve ending. Tiny, tiny little electrical pulses, like pins and needles, and you're holding it at bay by an act of sheer will. But Ulla, when they get into your head, they recognize the code in your head, and you repel them. And tell me something good.
Ooh. Hmm. So one of my cyber gears, I have full spectrum vision. Once I expel them, I can use them as almost like an ESP, extrasensory perception, to go after the rest of them so I can see them.
Okay, so I don't know what it feels like to Ulla. You can tell me what it feels like subjectively. But what's happened here is that the machinery in your head, which increases your mental capacity, your perceptive capabilities, and we haven't even discussed what else, but a couple other interesting things, is made by the same company that made these nanobots. They speak the same code, but yours is much more advanced. And that means you've taken over the cloud, the nano cloud.
Oh,
Now you
That's
can
got to
tell
be
me what
very
what that
surreal.
feels like. Yeah.
Mm. It's probably very difficult for her. Well, she would immediately recall them all, I guess, to her.
ooh.
The little a cloud swarms and pulls off of Jesse and pulls off of John. It pulls off of Trae and Nash, and comes together and coalesces as a black sphere, almost like a couple meters across, around Ulla's head, and then it just condenses into her head. Ulla like wobbles and is shocked for a moment as this just the sheer power of this coming into you and enhancing your capabilities. If anybody was measuring with calipers, your head just got a little larger.
Literally. I think she probably pukes. Like, just like,
Yes.
just vomits at this point. Like,
That's not bad. Actually, in fact, give me a psyche roll to see if you can avoid doing that. This is freaky. Beat of 5.
Yes.
nope.
Yeah. Okay, so
Nope.
Ulla just loses coordination and control and falls to her knees and begins puking violently. And Ulla, I can tell you that the experience is something like suddenly you call them all to you, and it's working. You know that it's working, right? But like maybe bit off more than you could chew, because now you're sensing them entering your head from both the inside and all of the outside points as they converge.
Nope.
You're
That's
feeling yourself entering your own consciousness millions of times,
Okay.
and you completely, you don't know which way is up. You can't see for a minute. You just, there's like the light gets brighter and brighter. You're like whiting out, and the sound of the world increases in volume until it's like you're huddled with your shoulders up above your ears as you're puking. The world has just turned up to maximum volume and maximum contrast, and then it suddenly stops. Your head hurts, like literally your skull has gotten slightly larger, and you feel like you just gained 1 point of brains.
Oh,
Yeah.
Oh,
When
Okay.
she starts puking, I think Nash just runs over, right? Because now he's concerned, like he doesn't want her to like, I don't know, choke or whatever. Like everything is happening in an instant. These things come up, they start to swarm towards her, and maybe like it starts as a tackle, right? Like, oh shit, you got to get down, and then like, she absorbs these things, and her eyes get real big, and she starts yakking. He just runs over to just like medic wise, like check, like, are you okay? Are you okay? Where did those things go? What the fuck is going on? What the fuck was that? Holy
everything's
shit!
bigger. Everybody, go, your head is bigger.
She's just like,
Reg, that's not cool.
It's in a good way. In a good way.
It's very loud. It's very loud.
In a good
She's
way.
just like curled up on the ground, like rocking back and forth, like, stop talking.
Okay, quiet. Everyone just.
Yeah, and it takes a minute. Everything eventually does fade, and you can see again, but it takes a minute for your ears and your eyes to adjust to hypersensitivity. You just went from like low res camera to a high res camera in your head.
Todd,
Uh-huh.
when Ulla did whatever she did, whatever happened, was there any type of signal that came off of her?
Because you have your network, right?
Yeah, it was an electronic signal, but it only radiated from like within her head because it only needed to go that far, and then the bots communicate via micro frequency with each other, so it's a different band.
Okay.
But yes, there was a flash of energy with Ulla's head at the center of it.
But nothing that my system would have necessarily picked up, at least not directly.
Okay, well, if she hadn't, I don't even know if Ulla's told you. I don't remember.
No,
maybe
none of this has come up before.
Okay, so Trae, you now know for a goddamn fact there's a computer in Ulla's head.
Okay.
You're not sure what it does, and it's not connected to a network, but it's fucking there.
Okay.
She has a DNI she hasn't told anyone about.
Nash
Nash
I'll
is
tell you just standing there.
You also, this is silent, right? This is this is like thought balloons and cartoon panel after cartoon panel, because Trae, you also recognize the code. It's Wolfram code, and you know that Wolfram is the company that's hunting Ulla.
Yep.
So 2 and 2 is.
But we also know that that Wolfram is hunting her because she defected. So,
yeah. No, what I'm saying is that the machine that's in her head, is Wolfram Tech. You now know that.
All the way back.
Yep.
So
I mean and that makes sense. Like,
yeah, they want their stuff back.
She just kind of like at this point she's like, oh, that was unexpected.
And Nash,
holding her head.
He's stage whisper, like he's just standing above you, like he's hovering, and he says, "Are you all right?
Is she okay?
I'm actually not entirely sure. I think I'm okay. I don't feel like I want to puke again. And the color of the world has returned to normal. And okay, your voices sound normal.
Like into the frame, like the hand comes down with the canteen or
Yeah,
whatever we have with water.
I would say that it has for a minute there it was like your brain was turned up to 11 and it was way too much for you to handle. But after a minute, now it's got down to like the level of a medium grade hangover.
Yeah. So she's like, I just got a headache now. It's fine. I don't feel that bad. Oh, I just feel like I drank too much or something. She kind of like stands up and sort of looks around, like trying to see like what's different in her vision and like what she,
Okay, so there's two things. First off, when I said you felt like you added a point to brains, I mean it. So add 1 to whatever you bring. Put that in the cur column.
Ooh, nice.
Okay.
This is the opposite of taking a point of damage. And there's one other thing, and it reeks out here, right? I mean, one gets used to it,
Yeah,
but you can't smell anything.
that's weird.
Yeah.
Interesting. I'm not sure she would. Yeah, I think she just notes that.
Mental note. No smells.
So she kind of like looks around at everyone else, and she kind of spends a second, just kind of like adjusting, and then she looks over at Trae, and she's like, the canister. Can you bring me the canister, please?
And he'll, he has it pretty much in his hand right now, and he kind of just
like
tosses it over to her.
She'll catch it. Was this? I guess my question is, was this on some kind of timer to open? Like, was that like a bomb that was like ticking down time-wise? Or was this a battery type thing where it was electronically enclosing something, and when Reggie accidentally turned it off, it just...
Okay, so let me
There's no way to tell. There's just no way to tell.
So let me back up a little bit, because there's the canister and then there's the lid. And the little blinking lights are on the lid, which is laying on the ground next to the canister. So, Trae, what did you toss her exactly?
I mean, I'm assuming asking for like the canister, that she probably wants the whole thing. So I probably would have loosely put the lid back on the canister when I tossed it over to her.
Okay. So then, yes, on the lid is the control mechanism and all the software, which is a nano interface, just like you've just discovered the DNI system in your head. In fact, it's rather similar to the system in your head, except that it doesn't interface with human neural tissue. Instead, it controls other stronger nanobots that are woven into the inner lining of this container to do their thing and just seal shut and stay that way. But there's another thing that you notice. On the inside of the lid is a stamped message. It's embossed there in the metal. And it says, "You will return what you have taken."
Oh, shit.
So she reads that and she rereads it and she's like, oh. And she just like turns it so that you guys can read it.
Is that a message for you, or is this?
How are they able to control a break in reality to send this message?
That's a $64 million question.
So maybe they pulled us here somehow by mistake? Is that, you think that's a thing, maybe?
Possibly what is happening in this reality currently might be because of experiments that they had been doing in cross-universal travel. And potentially they can control that to a small amount.
I think probably the scariest part about this...
My assumption, though, is most of the time they cannot control it, particularly on a larger scale.
But they knew exactly where we were.
Yes, which I believe is the more troubling aspect of
that's
this.
the one. That's the one.
Oh. Well,
so if like I don't want to say it's the Terminationer, but I want to say it's what happened around the Terminationer. Right?
Well, Ulla, what do they want back? Did you steal something? I mean, no judgment. I mean,
Zero.
Like waves his hand around and
Trae's eyes narrow slightly at Ulla during this.
She's like, well, in a manner of speaking. So during all of that, there are things that have been implanted into my brain. I can't really return it. It's rather difficult without, so.
Right.
So that's what that guy was about then. That guy that Trae shot.
Yeah.
I mean, that's all part of the same thing then?
So I was part of an experiment. It gets very complicated, but I was supposed to hunt someone down for them, and I got very tired of being their errand girl. And when that relationship fell through and I decided it was not all right and I left, they were very upset because I was full of expensive adjustments. Right, but I can't exactly take. It's not like I can just. Here you go. Sorry.
Part of you now. Yeah, it's part of you.
Yeah,
right. We get
Yeah.
it.
I mean, you all come from future neo-dystopias. You all understand that to any gigantic corporation, the machinery is worth millions. The human is worth like 75 cents.
Yeah.
If anything.
Well, you can always recycle it,
Oh, right.
Turn that into protein paste.
Oh, God.
Well, so
I have this ability. I try not to use it. In fact, I avoid using it at all costs. But it's essentially like a cyber clairvoyance to find things, and it's extremely fucked up. But it doesn't even always work right, and it's really it's not pleasant. I'll put it that way.
Highly experimental. Yeah, not entirely stable, very experimental. She's the first generation. What did they want to make you? A cyber spy, a cyber soldier, or something like that?
Cyber assassin.
Mm-hmm.
Cyber assassin.
They were hunting some very hard to find individuals.
What does it do to you when you use it? Like you said, unpleasant. So I was just, I'm curious.
Sort
I'm
of
also
imagine
curious. I'd like to hear that.
trying to push your mind through red hot sieve.
It's like Steve.
Sure, like you're sieving.
okay, like a
filter.
calendar, Reg. Like you're making spaghetti.
Okay.
Right.
Oh my. Okay.
It's extremely painful. It's awful. And on top of that, I also sometimes bring back images of things I don't want to see. And right, yes, you see things you don't want to see sometimes also.
This is ringing some bells for Reggie. He is a connoisseur
Yeah, I'm not
of
going to say
environmental
anything.
phenomena.
Yeah. I'm not going to say any of the things that I want to say. Okay.
Well, so have they, I mean, can they track the stuff? And he like starts waving his hands around.
Did you use something? Did you do something?
No.
To maybe lead to what just happened? That's not a blaming thing. That's just like let's get to the crux of it so we can either avoid it or use it to our advantage.
No, yeah. If I use the ability to the clairvoyance to try and find someone or find something, you'll know. I'll probably start like bleeding from the eyes and the ears, and it's terrible.
Do you need like a bath of water, salted water, and like put a blindfold on? Like, would that help you? Would that like amplify the ability?
Perhaps I just need to float in a bubble of baby fluid. All right.
Now this sounds terrible to even attempt on your part. I mean,
they can't find these individuals, and so they're trying to use this ability to find them. And anyway, I found some of them, but not all of them.
Okay, well, who were they looking for? Like, who were these people?
Oh, it's an underground group, generally referred to as whisperers, and the whisperers are are led by a perhaps real, perhaps merely legendary character called the Fate Broker.
It's just so dramatic. I'm a fate broker. So did you find him? Or them?
I found
There
one
were
of
a
them.
couple. There were a couple missions that were considered successful. Yeah, recon and one assassination.
Okay.
But they just don't. Obviously, they don't care what it does to me because it's useful. So.
Well, yeah. Well, I'm glad you got out. I mean, that's good. But let's not use that if it hurts you for sure. Well,
Yeah,
what else is going on inside of there, though? Like, I mean, that alone seems like. I mean, if it's hurting the subject, it seems like a very like alpha test type of scenario. So, is there something else that they want so badly, or is it just that?
Well, that was the main thing. I mean, there's some other things, and I have full spectrum vision and some other.
Oh, excellent.
I don't know if you're being guarded on purpose about this or not, Leslie, but Ulla just learned just now that the shit in her head can interface with nanobots. You didn't know you could do that.
So I didn't know I could do that, but.
I mean, that seems like something so very special that we should discuss a little bit more.
I don't actually know what all of it does.
I mean, this is all great, but we should probably keep moving.
We should keep
because if
moving,
they're
but I would like to.
tracking
Yes.
Us, no, but we
Right.
can walk and talk, right? It's a walk and
Walk
talk.
and talk. It's a walk and talk. But I would like to. And Reggie kind of like swishes around and looks at Trae. I would like some input from Trae as far as what all of this could mean.
We have the reason why the people are after Ulla. And at this moment in time, there are a couple of potential solutions, though I am not ready to quite workshop them yet. However, once I do have a working resolution, I will bring it up.
Nash puts his finger up like he's scolding a bad dog. We are not killing Ulla, Trae. That is not an option on the table.
And he'll look at Nash and then like blink and give a nod.
Reggie's
And
also
then
doing
Nash
the stink eye
nods
over
sternly.
Nash's soldier. Yes. No, this is very much. How about this? So let's walk. Let's walk. Let's get away from here. Can we get away from here, please? Let's get away from here.
Let's do a little montage walking through the ruins. Ulla, do a psyche roll.
Yeah.
Do a psyche roll?
Yeah. While you're all walking along.
Nash
real right before the roll. Sorry. So Trae had dropped his gun right before he did the dive for the canister. So as Nash is like, okay, like this is a walk and talk, and we go through, and so Trae goes back, picks up his gun, and just picks it and just it's like an over the shoulder shot almost, and like aims it at the back of Ulla's head.
No.
And a big red exclamation mark pops up in his UI.
That's good.
And he like pulls the finger off the trigger and holsters the gun and then walks.
So this is perfect. So as that's happening, again, before the roll, Nash kind of sidles up to Ulla and says, I'm sorry. We've learned we need to be very specific with Trae. This is not anything against you at all. Meanwhile, like the camera sees Trae behind us.
I can imagine
doing
like
his thing.
Nash comes up, it's the two of them, and then in the background, it's Trae holding up the gun.
Look, I lay down the law. Like, don't worry about it. It's fine. I just, we have to be real. It's fine. Like, it's fine. Don't worry about it.
Okay, psyche roll.
She's just looking at him like,
Sounds fine.
I got 2 2s and a 6.
Oh, we're taking that 6.
Yes.
Okay, so you don't turn quick enough to catch him, but Ulla, you kind of know that Trae just pointed his gun at your head. You know that, and you also know that there's a small group of people about maybe 300 yards ahead and like 5 degrees to the right, and you know that they have a fire and that they're about 5 feet below ground. You know that there are no drones in the area, and you know that you're well past the area where the olive trees can be. Just a couple minutes ago, you left the feeling that there are any olive trees. You are like sort of naturally sensitive to things around you because while you've been walking, you've been playing with this weird feeling in your head, these nanobots, sort of trying to figure out how to control it. And it actually, it's not too hard. So as you're going along, you're learning how to, is a clairvoy a verb?
Now it is.
Okay, so you're learning how to clairvoy like this for short distances at a time, just a few meters and then a little bit further, while you're walking and talking. No nosebleed, no headache. This is all you.
So she is going to note what happened with Trae, but not respond or react. She's just going to be like, noted. And she will stop when she senses the people, and she's going to say, hold on a second. They're 5 feet underground?
Mm-hmm. Roughly.
So she's just going to describe that. She's just going to say, so I'm sensing that there are, how many people? 3 people? Or do I know? A few. There's a few people, 300 yards. Is that what you said? 30 yards? 3 yards?
No, 300. It's like 5 or 6 houses, right? Half a block down,
Yeah. 300 yards ahead, 5 feet underground, there's a fire. And she's just kind of like, she's describing this like she's seeing it, but obviously she's not seeing this.
Oh, they're the undergrounders?
It might
Well, it's
be a
gotta be, right?
assumption. I don't know. Possibly. This is strange. She's just looking around and everything like.
Trae, can you send the drone up? Take a look topside, see if you can't find a vent, a door.
Trae's
entrance.
eyes
what
are
you're
already
starting
off, and
out,
yeah.
Ulla, is how to, and I'm gonna fictize the mechanic backwards here.
Mhm.
So mechanically, Leslie, what you're learning is that you can direct your clairvoyance, and I'll give you a psyche roll if you kind of intentionally send it out in a particular direction or to a particular spot. Then I'll give you a psyche roll, and you'll kind of, it's not really seeing it literally, but you're being aware of it from like hundreds of fly eyes at the same time, and so you form a very accurate 3-dimensional image in your mind.
Okay.
So that's how your clairvoyance works mechanically.
Okay. All right.
So yeah, Trae already has both his drone and his mini bot off, looking for anomalies in the surface for any potential entrances.
Well, if you send him in the direction that Ulla just indicated, you do see some
Yes, yeah.
smoke. There's a metal canister like the size of a big coffee can. It's kind of like with no top on it, and no sticking out of the ground, and
Mhm.
with smoke coming out, wood smoke.
Mm-hmm. Do I see anything that could potentially be a door or an entrance?
This is what are these? Which drone are we using here? What are you using to spot with?
I have. I mean, in this instance, it's probably going to be Totes, the sky drone. The little mini bot is still kind of on the ground, walking around, but for surveillance aspects, I'm probably going to be primarily focusing on aerial surveillance.
Okay, so Totes is also Wolfram Tech, and it was the first wave of
Mhm.
drones that came after you in the city where you found the cop car and all that, right?
Correct.
Cool. Oh, also the one that we saw Reggie driving in the pilot seat.
He's still there.
Yeah.
You know what? It is very well hidden.
Mhm.
But yeah, but there is sort of like a wooden door in the ground
Okay.
and bushes dragged over it, so it was very hard to spot.
All right. I'll drop a pin.
Uh-huh.
All
Do you
right.
say anything?
How do we want to approach
Not yet.
them so that they don't try to kill us and we don't end up, accidentally killing them?
We
Trae.
could try knocking on the door, assuming we can find it.
That's like really wholesome of you, Jack.
Well, they're
How
not
can
bothering us.
He's very
we're not-
wholesome.
We're not here to
He's
kill anybody. I mean,
All
with
right.
information, that's great. If we could find a place to hide out, even better.
Do we
Yeah.
have something that we can offer them? Barter usually works out here really well.
I'd pat myself down we don't have hardly anything.
Ulla, you are apparently able to sense the location of people. How clear of a picture do you get?
A group of people, but I couldn't tell you how many. I don't know anything.
No,
about
but
the
if we were to get closer, could you tell their position or their body stance, anything they had on them? If they had my point of this is, if we were to take Mr. Nash's approach and simply knock on the door, and at that point too, he'll be you guys don't have phones, do you, anymore? That's right. And so, yeah, he'll just kind of nonchalant. He'll be, oh yes, I found a door. It's approximately 170 meters in that direction. But if we were to approach the door and knock, could you use your senses to detect if they had any hostile intent?
Remember that Ulla is just now figuring out how to do this, and up until she attained this small army of nanobots, it was something that she could only do for short distances, tiny bursts of time, and it would give her huge headaches, nosebleeds, etc. So
yeah.
you're suggesting it may be something that she can do if she works on it, but she hasn't pushed herself that hard yet.
I just don't know the answer to that because I haven't tried.
I don't think Trae would care, actually, right? Todd's explaining it, but I don't Jesse's question is
I'm
Trae.
assuming she told me she was designed almost for this purpose, right? So I'm not,
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
I think there's something in Trae's head that's going, we are not so unlike you and I.
Oh yeah. And I mean, being pushed to your like beyond your limit is like what I was brought up to do anyway. So
Yeah, that's right.
so she's like, I don't know. I guess we'll see. Let's give it a
if
try. shall
you
we?
do not feel comfortable with it, or you feel like it would put us at a disadvantage, then I will retract my suggestion.
No, actually, I don't know if I can turn it off precisely at this moment. She's like staring off into space.
Just seeing everything.
Yeah, just like.
It's kind of wherever you put it.
You're right. She's like, as soon as I focus on something, I have to think, well, do I want to look at it or do I want to look at it? And well, of course, I kind of want to look at it.
Yeah.
In that case, so Trails, if we do want to simply knock on their door, then it's this way.
All right.
And he'll just start walking.
I like the idea of Nash and I just going up and knocking on the door. And then you two just kind of sit back and do your fun technological stuffs. And then we'll just kind of see what happens.
Really? Reggie, you're certain you should knock on it?
Hey,
I mean, he can't knock. He's in the jar.
yeah, I mean, I'm stuck in this. And he knocks on the glass. I can't do anything, Ulla.
Sorry.
It's
Don't be hard
okay.
on yourself,
It's
Reggie.
okay. I'm having a great time. I mean, I'm getting lugged around. I'm on my best friend in the whole world. And this is great. Jack will knock on the door and we'll see what happens.
You know, I don't think I actually know you, but I do feel like I've known you a long time.
Reggie laughs like just way too hard and uncomfortable.
It's the weirdest thing, isn't it?
Yeah, of course. Let's go knock on the door.
All right. There's a bunch of tumbleweeds and branches pulled in a very clever, multi-layered pattern. It takes a little bit of work to get them out of the way, and then a couple steps descend to an almost full-sized door.
This is wholesome, Jack. This is wholesome stuff.
Well, I guess we're gonna find out that
We're
really the case. I guess
We're just two well-meaning, people, and that's what all this is. And our psychological death cyborgs are laid back, ready to just pounce if anything happens.
I'll suggest to Ulla. It's like I believe that we should pull up a cover position in case they need to make an exit.
All right.
They're probably pulling up a cover position just in case we need to make an exit.
I mean, look, we don't know anything about this place at all. Like, this has got to be the best way, right? I mean, we'll go in, you catch more flies with honey than vinegar, right? I mean, it'll be fine, right?
Why would you want to catch more flies?
No, it's an Reg. It's an
It's
expression.
the expression. Gotcha. Yes. Sorry.
Yeah.
Okay.
If you're nice, then people will be nice back, right? I mean,
Got it.
not always, but yeah, we'll give it a shot.
I
I
understand.
pictured this conversation as 3 panels in a row viewed from the side, and
Yes.
and Jack is facing forward, Reggie's facing backward. They're having a conversation with each other, looking in opposite directions, while Jack moves into he's pulling tumbleweeds out and then down into the tunnel.
Would it make any sense that the canister is high enough where it's almost like I can see over his shoulder? So I'm speaking to him from behind him, peering over his shoulder?
I think that as an art, you just made art director is what that is, because I get a frontal shot. I get a frontal shot where I can actually see both of your faces in the camera.
Yeah.
I'm going.
Yeah. Okay. If that's cool, that's what's happening.
Todd, while this is going on, and like I assume that Trae and Ulla kind of sort of fan out to either side to sort of provide a little bit of cover in case they need to, in case shit hits the fan. So while that's happening and she's like thinking about stuff, one of the things that she's thinking about is it possible for her to take a few of these nanobots, just a little smidgen of them, and send them into Trae's gun, such that if she were to activate them, it would jam his gun. Like basically just something that if she ever felt like he was about to shoot her, that she could actually just kind of stop that.
So I want to.
The words of encouragement for Nash weren't enough for you?
No! There was an actual gun pointed at her head.
Don't worry. I told him not to shoot you. It's fine now.
Hey, in Nash minds, it's settled. I got the squirt bottle out, shook it to no. It's good.
You're gonna have to forgive Ulla, but she's like, nah. I've stayed alive for a long time. I'm not trusting these.
The problem is
people.
Trae is a cat. That's the problem.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
It's not out of the question for you to try doing things like that eventually.
Mhm.
That's probably beyond what you can do right now.
All right, she's thinking about it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't even have a copy of your character sheet, so that would be nice if you could send me a copy of your character sheet. But in the meanwhile, I think that's something that almost leans into character definition a little bit, and like maybe we should talk about it, because the way I feel is that this is for you, especially now with the nanobots, this clairvoyance kind of becomes useful to a degree it never was before.
Mhm.
And I want to talk with you on a player level about where that's going to go, because it's almost like a skill for you now that other people don't have.
I mean, I took it under gear, right? And I have 2 points in it, so I don't know. It's
Yeah,
I
so it's
just
going to be a
I
plus two.
spent
Whenever
XP on it.
yeah. So it's going to be a +2. But ordinarily, if like, what is clairvoyance? Well, that it's kind of like magic, and so I would sort of lean on the magic rules, and it depends
Sure.
on how hard the thing is that you're trying to do with it.
Yeah.
Because these nanobots can affect other machines. They can swarm inside stuff and change its nature or do things inside it. But right now, and what they were built for, was just looking.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Sure.
We're also going to need names for each nanobot.
It's literally
2.3 million of them.
Yeah, there's several million of them. It's possible, although it's not advisable. But I mean, you did it a couple times while you were figuring this all out on the walk over here. You can sort of extend them out around you, like see how big you can make that circle, but it becomes overwhelming. So many points of view is difficult to process, and you get dizzy.
Gotcha.
So it's better
then
if
it
you
cuts
focus them in one place.
It cuts to Nash saying to Reggie, and that's when I told him, you should have seen the other guy.
That's an amazing story. It's an amazing story. You're so good at that stuff. Oh, God. I bet he was all messed up.
Nash knocks on the door. The door opens a crack. There's a slightly large man with a mining helmet on. He's got a cigar in his mouth. He looks at you with one eye out the crack, and a little kid comes up next to his knee and grabs his leg. And the guy looks at you straight in the eye. He has no expression on his face. And he says, "People or state?"
Nash is kind of, so he's standing there, he's got his hands up, nothing equipped, nothing. I guess he's got the vest on, but like doesn't have the shield up or anything like that. And he says, we're new, so I'm assuming people, we don't, nothing with the city. We're not associated with anything. We're stuck out here.
Not anymore. He opens up the door and he welcomes you inside. I'm about to share a screen with you. He says, he clasps your hand. He takes a look at the baby on your back, and then he moves on to Trae, clasps your hand. Ulla, he gives you all a firm handshake. And he says, my name's Exo. I run this place around here. And he's got this big cigar that he keeps on waving around.
Nice to meet you, Jack. This guy back here is Reggie.
Hello.
This is Trae and Ulla. Ulla's from here. We just popped in recently.
As you step down the stairs, you see this is a lot bigger than you thought it was. There's a whole complex down here. He leads you down these rickety old stairs, and there's people sitting around and kids playing games and running around. There's probably a dozen people within view right here, but the tunnel extends much further back into the picture. And he says, well, you can stay here as long as you need to. Welcome to Tube City.
Oh, really is Tube City.
It's
All
Tube
right.
City. Okay, well, underground is was. That's fine.
We
Tube City's fine.
appreciate it.
A couple of the
We
kids
don't-
are running around looking at you guys and tugging at X's pant leg. And he pulls something out of his pockets and gives them to the kids, and they run off. It's some kind of candy.
I'm just trying to think if there's any, like, I don't think that I don't think Nash has anything to trade with. Like, he would be thinking, like, okay, they're offering for us to stay. Like, is there anything that we have? Like, he's already trying to, you know what I mean?
He's leading you down the stairs. He's doing his little speech, welcome to Tube City. Then he gives the candy to the kids, and he turns back to you. Look, as long as you're with the people and not with the state, I don't care what your story is, and I don't care what you've done. You don't bring them on us, and we won't bring them on you. This is a place you can be safe, but we got space, but we haven't got a whole lot of food. You're going to have to feed yourselves. Oh, also, you look able-bodied, might be able to find a job.
About that, I don't know that we're gonna stay, and we don't want to impose, right? And he kind of like turns to look at the rest of the party. Information would be great. Maybe we could just kind of, like, he starts patting himself down. Barter something. Fuck. Ulla?
Are there any connections into the city that run from this?
Down, he's leading you down through this tunnel, right?
Mhm.
And there's people left and right, and every now and then it's like something like not quite a shop, but somebody with a half door is selling like biscuits or candy or some kind of shit. And there's other people like lugging barrels back and forth. As you move deeper into the complex, you hear engines running up ahead and other voices shouting. I don't mean angrily. I just mean like, the sounds of labor being done. And you get down a little deeper. You see this big tractor come rolling toward you. You can share that screen. There's a work shift just ending. And the crew is driving this tractor trailer up the tunnel toward you. And they all take a look in your direction. You got newcomers, huh?
Okay. Yeah.
This guy in front, he says, hey, pleased to meet you. Name's Blinky. We can put you to work.
We're gonna get back to that for sure. Just
What is
we're doing the walk.
Can someone tell me what you're working on? Or should I not ask that?
Exo looks at you like you're a fool, and he goes, well, the tunnel, of course. We're going to finish the job we came for.
You're still digging the tunnel towards the city?
Yeah, we had a slight delay. There was a couple snags in the plan, but we're moving forward, right, people? And everybody like shouts. There's like rebel slogans and fists raised in the air, and everybody's saying "people over state," and it's like there's some sort of like political angle to all of this.
All right. Cool.
So, are you now working independent from the city?
Look, the city turned their back on us. We had some bad times. I'm not proud of it, but we have come together and people are nodding somberly as they come in a circle, semicircle around Exo. And we have decided to finish what we came for. Are they ready for us? No.
Well, it sounds perfectly reasonable to me.
Yep.
Yep.
Everything's fine.
Are there any portions of the tunnel that you have completed yet that might be connected to any of the underground service areas of the city?
We started to get close to the perimeter. We're maybe 2 clicks out. I figure another year, maybe 2, we'll be done. But yeah, we have found some side tunnels. Nothing large enough to send a tractor through, but we can get some of the kids down there. I don't want to be sending kids all the way into the city, but chances are yes.
I would very much like to see those.
You're on your own, buddy. Free underground.
Oh, that is very fine.
Are there any maps that we could trade for?
Well, it's just a straight line from here northward right into the city, darling. There's really nothing to map. We're doing a straight line.
Right. All right.
So if the city turned their backs on you and you're still doing the work, which is admirable, that's great. Are you gonna have a place when you get back to the city, or have they written off this whole thing here?
We're already in contact with some of the people inside the city who are going to help us from the other side. When we finally break through, he looks around. Some people are smiling. Some people look worried. He looks back at you. It's revolution time, son.
No.
No shit.
Cool.
What organizations exactly would you be in contact with?
Who the hell is asking?
And Trae will raise his hand.
We don't have a dog in this fight. I'm not saying that we are gonna help because I don't know that we have a year to wait, but I'm not saying that we wouldn't help necessarily if
That's
our
good. That's
interests
good.
align.
I'm going to pass you off to Blinky here. I got to tend to some stuff further down tunnel, but he's off work. Blinky, you're going to take over here. Get these people some food, all right? One night we can afford it. That's right. I'll see you later. And his hand is up and he's already gone, walking down the tunnel. And Blinky, that's this guy in the orange jumpsuit right here. Now the tractor and the people have moved on and he's left there in the tunnel with you. And he does blink an awful lot. He says, well, I got some lizard stew. Come on this way.
Sounds great.
Lizards out here are not great. Ulla, you've eaten them. They're scrawny, but if you have a lot of them, you can, and some spices, you can do some stuff.
Sure. It's the spice of being hungry.
All right, so he takes you into sort of an underground.
The worst Spice Girl, Hungry Spice.
There's a couple picnic tables and a couple benches and a few children running around. And Blinky gets you bowls of lizard stew, and there's some kind of hardtack crackers that everybody dips in the stew. It's some kind of vegetable matter ground up. You can't really tell what it is. And he introduces you to all these people. It's hard to track all their names, but that's Night Owl, and there's Frenzy. Hey, Tooth, and Nocturne. That's Risk, and that's Fallen. Oh, and this here is Whisper. He points at the littlest kid.
Trae started a database already.
Oh, he doesn't give a crap. I am never going to see these people again.
What was the name of the child again?
Whisper.
Can't
be more than 5 years old.
Ulla offers Whisper like a copper ring.
Uh, the kid snatches it and then runs around behind Blinky's leg. Now, you can't tell if it's a boy or a girl peeping out at you.
Sure.
Well,
Alright.
you know what? The stew is not great, but it's not bad. You've eaten worse things.
So, Blinky, what's it like working in the tunnels?
Well, it's not as easy as it was, and we had the automated machinery. The AI would guide most of what we did. We've kind of gone back to the old-fashioned ways. A lot of shoulder and back work.
Mm. What was the corporation that was sponsoring this tunnel? Do you remember?
Oh, well, it was the whole city. They had several corporations bidding for the tunnel, but of course, everybody was pretty sure it was going to go to Tranks because all the big tunnels go to them. It's kind of a monopoly, right?
Hmm. Right. So, have you run into any others in the tunnel recently? Any other new people?
Not a whole lot. I mean, some of the people here come from the city, and they managed to find their way here. But it's not like we're actively recruiting or anything. If you all come along and you're willing to help build the tunnel, then we're willing to help share food. We got some people who work on fixing our machines, and some people who work on making sure our jumpsuits are patched. Other people mining in the tunnel, and other people cooking this here lizard stew. So you might say it's a town. We made our own town, but all bets are off once the revolution comes. What is a town? Town is a people. Almost don't matter where it is, does it?
Is this because they sort of left you out here, or is there some other thing that's been happening here?
I don't know what you're referring to, mister. Another thing?
So you guys are building the tunnel, which you were contracted for, and then the city decided, for whatever reason, that they were going to leave you to your own devices. Hence the, the lizard stew, which thank you, by the way, it's very good. But you decided to build the tunnel, but then once you get back to the city, you're going to overthrow the existing political structure. So is there a reason for that, or just kind of like holds his hands out like what the fuck?
My friend, this revolution is so long past due. It has been such a long, treacherous, painful, and often deadly road that we have followed since the earliest days of the neoliberal agenda back in the 21st century when the corporations started to take control. Well, they got it. But they ain't happy with that. No, they ain't happy with controlling all the people and controlling all the land. No. They want to control the whole world. They want to control everything down to the microscopic level. They want to control reality itself. Look what they've done to it.
And like Nash kind of turns so he can kind of like eyeball Reggie, and just shakes his head like, these motherfuckers, right? Like, this is what was going on when we left, sort of thing. You know what I mean? Like this is a sore point for the two of them.
Yeah. Reggie runs a finger down his nose and points right back at Nash. Like, yeah, okay.
Well, it's gone too frickin' far. That's all. We had the global climate disaster, but no, let's just push on through, and millions died. And then we had global war, global terrorism, fights over oil, fights over water. But no, let's just push on through, said the corporations, and billions of people died. And now they got to retreat inside their dome because they done fucked up reality. It's time to put a stop to it. People or state.
Nash rips a cloth and ties a big red headband, rips his shirt off, says, "People!"
Oh God, we've lost Nash.
He, yeah, I mean, he just he looks to the rest of the group. So look, I mean, it isn't dissimilar from where we have come from. I'll cut you off, Reg, and say I know that you're saying that this is where we're from, but I don't want to.
I wasn't going to say that.
I know you were thinking it. I'm throwing it out there. Again, he looks to the rest of the group. I think this is just a waypoint for us. This is good information. I
We
mean,
don't have any information on the city.
I'm sorry, what did you say?
I
What did the
believe
baby
that
say?
if we
The baby said we don't have any information really on the city.
Are you talking to Nash or to the Blinky dude?
Oh, it's a Nash. Sort of speaking back to Nash.
Okay.
Mr. Reggie, if this is in fact the same reality that we came from, just
I'm sorry, let me cut you off right there because I've been working all day and I'm dog tired. So he stands up and he pats you on the shoulder, Trae. I'm gonna get me some sleep. So y'all sound like you got something to work out. Nice meeting you. I'll see you tomorrow.
Pardon me, one last question. Blinky, was it? Exo had mentioned that you had discovered small tunnels. Do you have that perhaps only a child or a single person can fit through? Are those accessible through the tunnel that you came from?
Oh, I don't know if you want to go down those tunnels. We keep them sealed for a reason. I mean, anything that makes it all the way to the city, they can send a bot through it.
But they are accessible.
I think you ought to stay away from those tunnels.
Thank you.
All right, just find yourself an empty cave. There's plenty of open space. I'm out.
Thank you, Blinky.
Mr. Reggie, to answer your question, if this is the same reality that we had come from, I do have at least working knowledge of the systems and layout of the city. Or at the very least, when we get into the city proper, I will be able to access the CivSec system so that we can have more in-depth knowledge of the layout.
Right. No, and that's great. We've been in this.
I mean, this is the city that I lived in. What do you want to know?
So, how long? I was curious. I was going to ask Blinky, but then I thought better of it. I wanted to know how long it had been since they had even seen a representative from any of the sort of companies that were trying to work on this tunnel. Like, how are they maintaining their equipment? How are they continuing?
He says they
to
aren't.
drill?
He says that they have literally switched over to digging pretty much by hand.
he did say back and shoulder work, Reg.
It did say back and shoulder work, but
Yeah, he.
so they're
Exo,
like,
Exo also said they went through a rough patch, and you saw a look across some people's faces. There was something bad that happened here. There was some violence. This is the group that won.
Yeah, I'm kind of. There's so much. I don't know. Before I strap the red bandana around my head, and scream people. I'm very interested. I'm curious about how and why they won.
Well, it sounds as though they were fighting against those who maybe didn't want to continue the tunnel.
Right.
That is a logical assessment.
Sure.
Oh, so is that child around, Todd?
I'm a man trapped in a child's body.
Yeah,
I mean, Whisper.
yeah. Whisper has actually never left this room. Just keeps ducking behind tables. But yeah, that kid can't keep their eyes off you.
I will see if I can lure Whisper out with, I probably have some sort of food. A bit of bread, a bit of something from where I came from.
Your charm. Go ahead and do a charm roll.
All right. 5.
3. Okay. You do coax the kid over and tell me something good.
Well, I have a question for him or them. I would say, what is something good? I don't know. I think just children are pretty good judges of your intentions, and her only intention is to just ask them questions, like just wants to talk. So hopefully they're feeling talkative now.
Okay, so the kid comes really close to you and doesn't speak for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
You can ask it all sorts of, like, just kind of making small talk kind of questions, and it's not speaking, but it's definitely listening and watching you intently. And then after a few minutes of this, the kid comes up and touches your knee. I'm imagining that you're still seated.
Yeah.
Okay. So the kid touches your knee and then leans really close to your ear and says, "I like you."
Oh.
And then whispers even closer so that their lips are actually against your ear.
Mm-hmm.
And Whisper says, "Please take me away from here." And we're going to end the episode right there.
I knew it.
I don't need another child in this group.
I'm a man.
All right. Great.
Yeah, there we are. I need more coffee. I'll be right back.
I don't think we knew they were continuing the tunnel till we got here, right?
Oh no. Yeah.
That was new information.
So. Yeah.
And they're like, and this kids, they're doing kids, and the kids are breaking their backs. They're doing back work.
It looked like there was a little kid in the picture.
Yeah.
Well, that's Whisper.
Like they're like in these smaller tunnels.
Well, what I'm hoping is Ulla can talk him into telling her where the smaller tunnel is, because guaranteed this kid probably knows.
Yeah.
So that was her thought, but now she's obviously going to be,
Yes.
trying to save a child.
Power to the people, baby.
See, the problem is that you're throwing ethical situations in front of Trae, and that's
yeah.
Well, yeah, because the Trae is so machinic that he counts as kind of like a control group, a ground zero.
We have gotten some very good information from these people. And if they eventually get into the city, they will be very helpful in taking down Wolfram and the other corporations. But they're not going to be here for a year, and they refuse to go down the tunnels. So,
Right.
I mean, we're not going to fit down the tunnels.
Well, it's not. I mean,
until we go down and check them out.
Blinky's fears are not unjustified. Any tunnel large enough to send a child through, you could easily send a small army of drones.
Oh, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Fortunately, we've got our special tech.
Yes.
Got our own drones. Well, I'm assuming she can probably use the clairvoyance too to like see how the tunnels are farther down. Like once we find a tunnel, then she should be able to like figure out if it's like traversable.
Oh yeah. In fact, it's almost like you're in a dungeon and you're the magic user.
Scrying.
Crying. I emailed you my character sheet, by the way.
Cool, thank you.
I don't know if you saw it. I did write some more of my gear down. So at one point in time, we found safety goggles, a gas torch, some copper bits, some spark plugs.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, we might be able to like trade for stuff if we need to.
Ah, yeah, good point.
I think I have like a liter of fuel too.
I think you may have given up the spark plugs to your buddy back at the camp, but the other stuff you probably still have.
I thought he said he couldn't use them because like the shit was getting blown up or he didn't have enough time.
His response was, "Wish you'd done that sooner," or something like that. But you did toss them to him.
Okay, so he kept them. All right, cool.
Yeah, I figured the idea was, for your next truck.
For your next truck. Project number 10.
I mean, I'm assuming this is probably like a one and done, or maybe like 2 nights here, and we probably bounce, right? I mean, obviously we're not working on a tunnel.
Yeah. Ulla gets a creepy fucking feeling from these people, and she has no interest in staying.
Todd, do we hear the kids say that, or does only Ulla hear that?
Only Ulla hears that.
Okay.
That's a super tight close-up on the kid's lips touching her ear. It's the last shot of the show before we fade to black.
That's what I assumed. Okay. Not that you wouldn't share that, I guess, probably. But yeah, as we close, we don't know that, right? So we also don't want to like draw any undue attention to them if this is someplace we have to come back to if they're tracking you, right? So like if we can rest here for a couple of days, right, so we can get that grace back, and then it
seems like they'll be happy to let you stay here if you find something you can do, a job, either helping dig the tunnel, or I don't know, maybe you can cook, or maybe you can fix something.
Yeah. And I mean, would that count as downtime though? That's the question.
Oh, if you wanted it, yeah. I mean, if you want to do like 3 or more days to heal up your wounds, this might be a great place to do that.
That's what I'm thinking.
I see.
Meta, right?
Down, yeah.
Just saying too. I mean, as a pretty decent distraction, say we were to get into town, right? So we get into the city, and then someone alerts them to the presence of a tunnel that connects to a group of revolutionaries like a kilometer outside the city. That might create enough of a disturbance for us to do some stuff.
I guess and maybe this is a conversation we have to have in game then. What's our ultimate goal, right? Like, as far as Nash is concerned, we're together. Ulla's helping us out. This is great. We have, someone who's native, so to speak, to get us, in and out of places, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But like Nash's thing is we got to get home then. I know Reggie would disagree, but like Nash sees this as a temporary thing. We're on a mission. We need to figure out what it is that we need to do to get the fuck back home because this isn't gonna work. Right? Like,
I think this is
Okay, so I think one thing that you probably talk about. I mean, later that night you're going to be finding an empty cave and sitting down and making yourselves as comfortable as you can and trying to get some sleep. There's that one little speech that Exo gave where he was talking about how, you know, they have to control everything, or maybe it was Blinky. They have to control everything down to the microscopic level, and they've gone and fucked up reality. And that they fucked up reality. They've done it. Look what they've done. Is he talking about the reality fractures?
That's how I took it.
Oh yeah. Well, I think
So
our
he
goal
seems to be
here,
implying that the reality fractures are actually caused by someone in this world.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So we know in this reality there is no day tripping, right? Like, so that was never
Correct.
officially discovered.
As far as
But yeah,
we know.
I'm assuming that this is something that Wolfram has probably attempted, and that's what's now causing all of this. So I think
they're doing a lot of experimental shit.
The Terminationer referred to Night Tripper demons.
Yes, he did.
Yeah.
So that how I took that back then was that yes, there is day tripping, but that is where we are now is what that is what we used to do, except is that here.
Well, I think it might. I can't remember when it happened, but when we were trying to figure out like where we are in terms of like, is this our reality? I think Nash had asked Ulla about like day tripping and all this kind of stuff, and she had no idea.
Yeah, no idea.
Right.
there was no
Now
somnambula.
she does know most of the company names that Trae is familiar with. Ulla is also familiar with. Wolfram is one of them, but there have been many company brand names and shit. You know, like the brand of sneakers that the Terminationer wore. You both recognize that brand, okay? A lot of stuff that you both recognize from the same world. But Ulla has never heard of day tripping, never heard of Zion Diaspora, never heard of slip space. Nope.
Yep.
Some Nambula either, correct?
Nope.
And dark matter, neither.
Right.
Either. Yeah.
So my assumption is that this is a technology that is like being parallel developed in this reality, but not in the same way.
Kind of like, the analog for day tripping.
Yeah.
Let me give you all some experience points. Nash 2. 3. Sorry, 3.
Oh wow.
Trae 4. Reggie 3. Ulla 5.
Nice.
Noise.
I survived having my brain grown.
Right. But yeah, I think initially, at least Trae was trying to figure out how to make it work. But like, if we were getting helped by Ulla, like to help her would basically be to like take down Wolfram. Now I was like, how we now we know they're also what's causing these issues. So like taking them down, or at least figuring out what's going on and doing it from that point of view now makes a lot more sense.
Well, but do we know that Wolfram is causing the fractures?
Yeah, you don't necessarily know that because what you heard a minute ago was something like it was the whole city, which really means the big 9 corporations.
Well, the way he's looking at it is, so we know that Wolfram Tech is in Ulla's head. The nanobots were Wolfram Tech.
Mm-hmm.
They got sent through the wormhole, the thing somehow.
The reality fracture.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So that, like, his next leap in logic to that was like, well,
they did it.
Wolfram has the technology then to open up these fractures. So
Okay. Yep. I see where you're going.
That's a logical assumption. Not necessarily the only possibility, but it is a logical assumption.
Yeah.
And they could be working with somebody else to do it, and we just don't know who
Absolutely,
that is. You know, or the somebody else is using Wolfram Tech. I don't know.
You do know, in fact, that they're reaching out to work with other people, because where'd that bounty hunter come from? He wasn't Wolfram. He was independent.
Yeah.
If we find an Ingwe Cordoba in this universe, he is a dead motherfucker.
On the spot.
I don't think Nash hesitates this time. If there's somehow that he's involved in whatever this is, it's done. Not that there is, because apparently nobody knows him or Somnambula or anything. But like, if there's some weird fucking,
Or he was smart enough to do all of this shit out of the public eye. Like you say, there's 9 corporations, but they're probably all owned by one group.
Yeah, watch. You're gonna find Ingwe Cordoba, but in this reality,
Right.
he's like a Tibetan monk with cancer.
Yeah, I don't know how to. I don't know how. I don't really know how to even approach this coming from Reggie's standpoint, because to me, I'm not even sure what we're even looking for. I mean, if we're looking for a way, I guess what Reggie's most curious about is how that day tripping technology is being used, and at what point the whole slip space and lucid dreaming research, like what level it's at. Because it seems to have been bottled up in a different way here than it had been before, and that's concerning to Reggie.
If Jesse's or Trae, I don't know if it was Trae's theory that you voiced, Jesse.
Oh, it's Trae's theory, yeah.
Okay, so I mean, if Trae
been rolling over for the whole walk up until this.
Okay, so if Trae is correct, remember in your reality, you had the temporal resistance field, which basically kind of like held your place in this reality for up to 24 hours, because reality's tendency is to just sort of seal up around you as though you're just not there. And reality goes on without you, and you end up disappearing from the timeline completely. But the temporal resistance field prevents that from happening. Along the way, you've had in the first 3 seasons of this campaign, there was the reality slipping belt. Right, it was invented by was it Marlowe?
That sounds about right.
Yeah, wasn't it his daughter?
Yeah. So her father, Dr. Marlowe, invented this belt that allows you to slip from one reality to another. And then there was the blue gel invented by Cordoba that allows you to slip into dream spaces. So it's like 3rd generation in the reality where you came from, right? There was first Diaspora himself and the ships. And then it got refined down to a tiny level where Marlowe knows how to get it down to a belt you can wear. And then it got down to a liquid level, which is essentially nanotech, is what Cordoba has done. He's linked it to his dream deck. So that can only go into dream worlds. But think about that, 3rd generation technology. Now, if it didn't do that, if Zion Diaspora didn't invent the temporal resistance field in this reality, what was invented instead? Whatever that was is now in its 3rd generation. It's gone pretty far.
That's scary.
It's refined, considering it's opening up temporal rifts all over the place.
Yeah, fractures in reality.
But are we? I don't know that I'm.
It could not be as random as we assume.
No, well, that's what I'm saying. That saying that none of them are random. I mean, maybe I don't think any of them are random now. I think they are.
That last one seems to have been deliberate.
Oh yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Well, but I'm also going off of that whole assumption that you're saying that you put very well in a way that I couldn't possibly have thought up, is that like if that last one was so obviously on purpose, and we have no idea how they knew, that it's almost like, okay, then the other ones we have to at least consider the possibility that the other ones are as well, at least like leading up to this point. Like maybe earlier on it was them experimenting with the ability to do it, but they've got it down. Like they were able to do that.
And that means that was what brought you here, and that was what brought the other two guys here. So that means that in this reality, seemingly, you were brought here on purpose.
Right. And that's what I'm not having a good time thinking about. Reggie's kicking this around.
So
in a bad way.
Ulla is just kind of wondering if this, like, whatever reality they came from, if essentially because they kept talking about having a hard time like staying in a reality and like slipping from reality to reality, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like they were having issues. And so now she's thinking, well, maybe the problem really is this reality causing all of it.
It could be. And then there's the third thing that only Reggie really knows. He may have described it to you guys, but it sounds like nonsense even if you try to believe him. Because he has this memory of being in this nursery where this entire fucking thing is a dream.
Or that was a dream.
Or that was. Well, yeah. But, I mean, that's what it feels like now. But
I'm drafting a thing.
No, don't worry. I'm not trying to take you there. All I'm saying is that there's three, like if you try to dig down to the bottom, to peel off all the layers of the onion, you still got three different things that might be what is causing reality to fall apart. It could be baby Reggie dreaming it. It could be Wolfram fucking around, or it could be something you guys did in the DayTrippers universe.
Leslie, I like your theory though of Wolfram just nonchalant or uncaringly like drilling holes through realities and like that just fucking everything else up.
Yeah. It feels very like the dwarves delve too deep.
Right?
Yeah.
Oh, you're conjuring a Balrog now. Now someone.
I know. I love it. I wish that had been said in play because the mining metaphor is so rich.
Yeah. Well, because now you've got so we've got these people who are doing an actual physical tunnel into the city, and then they're just doing like metaphorical, like metaphysical tunnels through reality.
Now you're getting it.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't get it.
Well, Ulla has a very self-serving reason for wanting to go after Wolfram, because at this point she's kind of like, well, I can't keep avoiding them because they keep trying to kill me, so I don't know, maybe let's go kill them.
Yeah. And now that Trae knows that they have the potential to control these rifts, like if we get in there then and we can usurp this technology or at least temporarily use it, we can get the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
Well,
maybe you'll find that last leap home.
And I think you have to. So I think the funny thing is, like, everybody's in their completely own headspace. Like Leslie's like, all right, well, we got to kill this motherfucker because I can't get away, and maybe they fuck this thing up. Nash is like, this, like, it's real, but like this isn't our thing. And Reggie's like, no, this whole thing is a dream. Trae's on his whole other thing. Like, everybody's in a completely different space. But I think if Trae elucidates the point of like, and reinforces like, hey, they sent that thing, right? You caught that, right? Like they sent that. They're going after Ulla, who's helping us. And if we get this guy, we might be able to go home. Jack's on board in a heartbeat, right? But like he's not.
I have a feeling that's going to be. So I think that's a great conversation. Next session during the downtime. Like I'm assuming like after like a few days, like Nash will kind of bring us all together and be like, okay, what the fuck are we doing?
Right,
And I
we're gonna have a plan.
That will pull in at that point.
Because I'm not a. I don't think so. So Nash gets it, right? So like, we went into Somnambula to go do a thing. So
Twice.
he is not twice. he's not above helping Ulla with this problem because you, without reservation, took us upon your shoulders to be like, okay, well, I guess I'm just going to help you now, right? So like that means a lot in, you know, Jack's estimation, right? So like if we have to kill a motherfucker in a world that's not ours, I think he's in that space, right? Like I don't
while
think
you're
that
saying that, of course, Reggie is just kind of like rolling his eyes in his baby jar because he's like, no, the reason Ulla's here is because Ulla's always been here.
Stop it.
Oh,
So here's in relation to that. So you said that if you're in a reality, something about like reality would create a blister around you if you weren't supposed to be there or something. What was that?
So
yeah.
when we would go ahead. You're gonna explain it better.
Okay, so it's kind of like a soap bubble pinching off from a like you're blowing through a big ring, right? And these little soap bubbles sort of pinch off and go off in different directions, right? But those are whole different realities, and they can bounce off each other or they can crash into each other and become one. So kind of think of the walls of reality like a flimsy soap bubble, and there's lots of them, and they're all floating around in what we call the multiversal cow, which is just the chaos from which everything arises. Some stuff becomes solid, and that turns into realities, which are actually four-dimensional. So my bubble metaphor starts to break down, and they become more like strings or big sheets because they're four-dimensional. They evolve across time, and they also split and branch. And so when you leave one of these branches, you can travel the first way that we discovered. You could travel across the cow and into another branch. And what you end up in is an alternate Earth. Like somewhere in history, it branched off from the one you came from. And except for that, it was kind of the same. Like up to that point, it was exactly the same. And so they discovered how to jump from one reality to another. But the problem was that reality's tendency is to just if you're not part of reality, like all reality is connected. Each branch is an organism in a sense. It's a holistic system. And if something is there, then it's part of it. And if it's not there, then it's not part of it. It's kind of that simple. So Diaspora invented a force field that prevented reality from basically noticing you were gone. And those we call slip ships. And you get inside one and travel to another reality. And as long as you come back within 24 hours, the bubble doesn't pop. And you can pop back into the reality that you came from. So sorry it took so long, but there's what you wanted to know.
I'm just wondering if somehow like the reason why you guys forgot about her is because of something like that.
Maybe if her tether came undone and she became detached from our reality.
It's possible. The other possibility is that Nash forgot. Like Reggie remembers that there was a reality before DayTrippers, and y'all were in it. But Nash has forgotten that. And I guess the others have as well. But Ulla said, like, this feels comfortable.
I was just gonna say, Trae. Yeah, right. Okay, you said it.
Yeah. Anyway, that's just when you said that, I was like, oh, that'd be fun.
I like that.
I mean, Nash would disagree because we've never met you before, ever.
Ulla's never met you either.
Your mind is able to conceive.
Yeah. It's just kind of an interesting.
This is terrible. This is terrible.
What's so terrible?
Is that we have to go to the city and then we have to see what's going on, and it's not going to be good.
Well, I mean, it is. It's going to be terrible. It's going to be awful. But
good.
I mean,
always good to
specialize in espionage. So
what'd you say?
I said, luckily you have two people that are specialize in corporate espionage. So
Yeah.
And they both got remote auto cognitive assisted devices in their heads.
Yeah, I mean, I figure that like up until now, Wolfram has been in the fuck around stage, and they're just moving on to the find out stage.
That checks out.
Mhm.
All right.
Well,
And at this point, I'm going to bail a minute, but I want to inject one more thought into baby Reggie's head before
Oh,
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
because you're forming it like a minute ago. We were thinking, okay, so there's at root 3 different things it could be, like that caused all this. But then baby Reggie's thinking about that, and it could be all of them, because realities are holistic after all. So the whole reality is a whole reality. No such thing as half a reality. If a half reality breaks off, that's a reality. So they're all real. So all 3 could be true.
God damn it, Todd.
no.
I'll say this before you jump back, because maybe it's important, maybe it's not, because I don't know if this is going to be our last season or whatever. But when we get to the point of maybe we get to go home, if that's a thing, then Nash would definitely, based on the situation here, fully intend to bring Ulla, if she wants to come, back into our reality, because you blink out of here and be somewhere better. At least not a blasted hellscape, right? Like, you know.
Yeah, I mean, gosh, I don't know what she would do at that point, but I guess it would just depend on the circumstances of what was happening, you know?
It's kind of difficult to imagine a less appealing world than this one.
Well, the pink blob world is pretty bad.
That's what happens if you let the nanobots get out of control. See?
Yes.
Oh my god.
And I feel like that's a split moment. Like, that's a decision in the moment, right? But like, in my head canon, like, after having fought and bled and everything else, like, you can't obviously want to stay here. You've got to come with us, right? And then she does or she doesn't.
Yeah. I mean, she has family here. But the issue sort of is that she's kind of persona non grata now. So,
right, you'd never be safe.
Yeah, I mean, unless, you know, who knows? But yes, yeah. I mean, certainly as things stand right now, yeah, like she would just be like, well, I don't know, let's try another reality. How bad can it be?
And we don't know, Todd, right? Like, if someone either enters a reality like that, so say we brought Ulla back, or if we got bubbled out of our own reality, life goes on, and it's as if you weren't there anymore. We don't know what happens in the new reality, right? Like, have you always then been there, or are you, as Ulla says, persona non grata in the new reality? Or so if we brought her,
there are theories. There are theories about this, and they're still arguing about it down at the Interspace Academy of Technology. But the general rule of thought is that the people around you, sort of their memories, kind of like a Mandela effect. Like their memories kind of, at first you're like, who are you? But after a while, you just sort of start to mold in, and then they feel like you were always there.
Okay. I mean, not that Nash would know that necessarily. I don't think that's where his headspace would ever be, but
well, there are theories that when you studied slip space dynamics, at least Reggie would read about these cases where they think like the Angel of Mons or the Illuminati stranger who visited Thomas Jefferson while the Declaration of Independence was being written. There are theories that those were actually DayTrippers.
Okay. Again, I don't think like this is player
But
knowledge. I don't.
here's
Nash
the way,
would know.
here's the way Nash would think about it. If we could somehow get a slip ship here, like if we could find like the real Zion Diaspora and he actually had a ship, a working ship, and we took Ulla with us and dialed in the coordinates and Reggie got us back to our home Earth, then all we'd have to do is wait 24 hours and then this reality would forget about Ulla's existence and she would officially be someone who lived on Earth. That's the way you understand it. Like if you could somehow get a slip ship, that's what you think would happen.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Cool.
Todd, I just have one real quick question.
Hmm?
Not that Trae's a real person. He's a figment of someone's dream. But still. So his father, quote unquote, like head of the Clatch is does he know them on like an official level, like as a purveyor of the board of Crab, or is it much more of an unofficial like code name level?
You have absolutely no idea who your biological father was, or even if there was only
that's why
one.
that's why quotes like
Yeah, like you, for all you know, you could have been, your DNA could have been sequenced from 100 different people.
Oh yeah. But just in terms of like who runs their specific organization and like where they get their missions from.
No, you don't know. You know your Clatch father,
Yeah.
and you know that he has superiors who he never names.
Mm-hmm.
You also know that because you're taught good strategy and organization as a member of a covert operations Clatch. That's the way any good fluid structure should be built. That if the structure is working right and everybody follows their training, then each level, each cell only needs to report to one node of connection to the superstructure.
Sounds good. All right. I think I'll be shooting you messages throughout the next few weeks.
Right on.
Cool.
All right, people. It's go time for me.
It's pumpkin time.
Yeah, it's go to sleep time for you. It's go to eat time for me.
All right, take it easy.
All right, see y'all later.
Bye,
Good
Todd.
night.
And that was the post show. Just we rolled right in with a half a breath.
We did.
So yeah, there's not that. So there's a Patreon, support Todd doing stuff. We're gonna record. I don't know. It's probably fun. See ya.
Peace.